Good evening. I'm going to call the public power hour to order. And just as we always do, we will not make any decisions tonight. This is really a listening opportunity for council. There's no other folks here besides our city council and our city clerk, Jamie Paul. So this is opportunity. And I'm going to ask Mike Grable to come forward. Mike, I'm going to really give you a good bit of flexibility since you are the only one that's here, and I don't believe Michelle or Mr. Fredis are here for the public power hour except to listen. So I don't think anyone else is going to want to talk. So if you would, just for the record, state your name and address, and then I'm going to turn it over to you, sir.
All right, good. My name is Mike Grable. I live at 474 Front Street. And I'm glad y'all are here to listen to me tonight. I can't hardly get anybody else to listen to me. Not everybody will pay attention. I know that you guys are laser focused on getting cleaned up after the hurricane and all the debris and all the trouble you got to handle. But I wanted to come and talk to you tonight about the Greenway and Bowick Park. And, you know, we bill ourselves as South Carolina's riverfront community. And it's great, but the only place the public can see the riverfront is on Front Street. And that runs from Front and Railroad down to the ballpark. But if you want a public view of the river, you've got to come there. I was talking to some of you before the storm, and I was asking at that time that you can consider cleaning out some of the volunteer trees and shrubbery and just clean up the river where you could see it. The storm came. Kevin, too, called me right after the storm, and he says, Mike, I see you appeal to a higher power. And I really didn't, but it was coincidental. The stretch from the ballpark down Front Street gives you the only public view, but we do need to have the same little scrub trees and vines and the blockage of the river cut down and in some cases removed permanently so we can see that river. And my goodness, I have a view of the river 24/7. That greenway is used a lot. I mean, everybody, I can't tell you how many people use that thing, even at night, which, by the way, the clock is off. The lights are coming on late, and they're still on early in the morning, so get a chance to fix the clock. I wanted to get away from the overall greenway and come back and just focus just a minute on Bowick Park. And I'm considering Bowick Park, the main part of it, from just beyond the bridge on the west side and just beyond Madison on the east side. So basically from Crystal Lake Drive down to Madison. And that's where the pavilion is, and that's where you have existing flower beds. Now, when you used to go to Bowick Park, it was the go-to place. You could go down and it had the most beautiful flower beds. It had some of the most scenic views. The pavilion was used frequently. It's many times rented, but most times not rented, but used. And so as the go-to place, there were plenty of photo ops for the proms, what we used to call the junior, senior. I don't know what they call it now. I guess they call it a prom. And you had the weddings. And I see kids from schools all over the CSRA coming here, and they take photo ops. Well, most of the photo ops go with the greenway because it's solid green. There's not one piece of color down there to have the photo op in. The building now, unfortunately, looks abandoned. It hasn't been taken care of through the years. The flowers have disappeared. They have no water. There's very little topsoil left, very little mulch left in the flower beds. And worst of all, and this is the main thing I want to bring to your attention, you have a very expensive irrigation system there. It's in place. You've already paid for it, but it's not operational. No one has fixed the broken pipes in 5 years. And so the city is just not getting the benefit of this watering system. And no flowers are going to live in the summertime down there without some kind of moisture. You've got this major investment in the park. You don't need to budget additional funds. You already have the funds in place. Now, very few times people come down here and say, I want this and I want that. That doesn't have a budget impact. But you already have the budget in place. It's there. The money's there. I think the labor's there. I keep hearing that some of the reason this place hasn't been taken care of is because you can't get enough people hired. You have empty slots, but no one filling them to take care of places like Bowick Park. So I would bring that to your attention. What we need to do is, first of all, and most of all, we need to fix the sprinkler system. It's all your infrastructure's there, the controllers are there, everything's there. You just need to repair the pipes. The sprinkler heads are there. I go down and I discover a new sprinkler head every time I walk through the park. If you come back through with a watering system and you put a little topsoil in the flower beds, put a little mulch in the flower beds, and then put some flowers in the flower beds, you'll have a beautiful, beautiful park. And I see that lantana has become very popular in North Augusta. That's a good, stable, easy to maintain flower. That'd be fine. Put a lot of lantana down here. It's beautiful. And it's not very hard to maintain, so you wouldn't need a lot of labor to maintain it. But you've got to get the water system fixed. By the way, if you do this, it all needs to be done by the spring, because that's when the photo ops take place with the spring formals, proms, and that's when the weddings and the beauty of this park really stand out, when all these people start to show up to take their pictures. You already have an enormous investment in this park. You paid for it. It's not a new expenditure. You already got it. It's there. It's the only place the public gets the view of the river in the city that we call South Carolina's riverfront community. It's the only place. And if I miss one, tell me now, because I don't know of any other public place that gets the view of the river. We just need a little soil, a little mulch, and plenty of water. And my first request would be that you fix the watering system. Then, even if you don't get the soil, you don't get the mulch, the plants will live if they just get the water. And I've kept this short and sweet. There's plenty more I could say, but I know you're short on time. I didn't know I was going to be the only speaker here. I'd made this a little longer. I do have, in what I've given you, I put in some information that's for the longer range. I won't bore you with all this right now, but longer range, if the last paragraph will give you some idea of what I think we need. And I appreciate you listening. Thank you. All right.
Mike, a couple questions. Have you spoken with the Homeowners Association group at Hammond's Ferry about your concerns, just so they are aware?
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, I didn't hear. Have I spoken with
you? Spoken with the Homeowners Association at Hammond's Ferry? Are they aware of your concerns?
I haven't spoken to the Homeowners Association formally because that association has no control over the park. But I have spoken to the homeowners individually, and they're all in favor of getting the park up and beautified. They'd like to see the flowers. They'd like to see the view. You know, a lot of us paid a lot of money to live on Front Street, and up until the storm, we really couldn't see the river. You just get glimpses of it. But the storm took out a lot of big trees, and by the way, we do want to thank you for getting those big trees up and out, because whoever did that, I was out of town when they came in and took those trees out, so I didn't get the benefit of seeing them take them. But I sure realized what they did when I got back. That was a major process, and they did a great job.
R&R did a good job. So a couple things. We're aware of a lot of this. I don't have an answer for you all about the irrigation piece. But a couple things. We're very fortunate in the city. We actually have 2 arborists on our staff. Roy Kibler is our main arborist.
Yeah.
So I will just tell you, when it comes to what to plant and that nature, as far as a council, we don't micromanage that. I mean, there's nobody. I'm not in a position, any of us here, to tell Roy, here's what you should or shouldn't do as far as plants. So, because I think he does a good job there. To let you know, the pavilion right now, when we had the hurricane, the State National Guard engineers came in, and we had them go through every building the city owns, from Living History Park, everything, even down at behind the activity center. So that pavilion, what I call pavilion, that structure is structurally unsound right now due to the concrete. So right now it is probably down here as far as priority for us to fix, but we're aware of that. I don't think you're asking anything that is not possible at all. As a matter of fact, I'm looking at an email back in September, a week before the hurricane, and there were a number of these things that you're talking about that have been addressed from our assistant city administrator with Roy. Okay, heavy pruning was going to be done in late November. Any dead areas in the plant materials are going to be cut out. So we're aware of a lot of this. The reality, to be very frank with you, is it's down lower right now.
Yeah.
And the other thing that is important, and we did this in the budget, we really do have an issue with staffing. So we have put in the budget for this year, we will be hiring an outside company to assist us in filling in a lot of gaps that we just can't do. Okay, what that looks like, I don't have an answer for you there. That'll be done between our administration and with Roy and our team. But the idea of that is we don't want things to fall through the wayside like we've had with, I'm using your example, Beck Park. Okay, so I was asking you to be patient with us. We're asking our citizens to be patient a lot right now, but I don't think anybody here doesn't agree with that. Beck Park is an amazing park in the river. So we're very aware of this. I will reach out about the irrigation piece, but be patient with us, and we are going to work on it.
The only thing I would ask is if you could make repairing of the irrigation system a high priority. The rest, if you give it water, what you have will live and grow. If you deny the water, it's all going to continue to fall by the wayside and die.
Yeah, nobody plants landscapes your yard without having to get it. That's the first thing. Yeah. He'll tell you that.
In the lantana I was speaking of, it requires very little water. It's a hardy plant. The city must be aware of it because they got a lot of it going out.
But Mike, it's good, one, that all of us are hearing this. We all have that sheet. But again, give us a little time, be a little patient with us, but we will definitely get back with you on those things.
Good.
Anybody who wants to say, I just wanted to update that.
Excuse me, coming in a few minutes late. What did you say briefly, real quick, about the decorations and stuff?
He didn't
mention that.
Okay.
I can't hear you.
Well, I told you were going to talk something about decorations. You decided not to talk about that?
Oh, no, I bring decorations up at another meeting, another time. Too much debris out there to worry about Christmas right now.
How you like those Christmas lights on George Avenue?
Listen, they were fantastic, and you also did some more stuff down by the ballpark that wasn't there the year before, and it looked great. Some of the decorations didn't get out, but I certainly understand that. I was surprised any got out. Yeah, and I hope you leave those lights on George Avenue up all year long. They are beautiful. They are gorgeous. Yeah, I got plenty to say about Christmas decorations, and a lot of it's complimentary of what you did in spite of the storm.
Well, let's say that for another public power hour, so we got about 5 minutes before we have to start a meeting.
Hold on 1 minute, though.
Ask questions.
No questions, but just also talking about downtown, Mike, the Beautification Committee Foundation, and Mr. Cheryl right up there in the green sweater. I don't know if you noticed hanging baskets that on the poles. Now, of course, the flowers hadn't blossomed out yet.
Yeah.
But that's gonna be another added feature to downtown North Augusta. So we got, how many we got up, Cheryl? 41.
That's
And we
great.
need- Yeah, so when you go up Georgia, look at your hanging baskets.
Listen, it's hard not to go up Georgia Avenue and see the Christmas decorations and the lights. I mean, I was shocked when I saw it. I said, how did they do this in spite of the storm? I mean, I was impressed. Great.
Anybody else question for Mike?
I just want to say thanks, Mike, for coming to speak.
All right. Well,
Appreciate
thank
it,
you
sir.
very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Good. All right. I don't think, is anybody else? Is anybody else here for the public power hour? If so, raise your hand. Yeah, I know. Yeah. He's good. Sit down. All right, we're at, I'm gonna wait just a couple more minutes before we close it out, just in case somebody does walk in. All right, we're gonna close the public power hour. Thank y'all. We'll be back. Good evening. I'd like to call the City of North Augusta City Council meeting for January the 6th, 2025 to order. It's good to see everybody. Thank y'all for being here. You are welcome to join me in prayer. Dear God, as we begin a new year, I ask that you will be with this council. You'll give us guidance on your perspective and the right priorities as we do the work of the city. I ask that you give each of us discernment. Open our hearts and ears as we strive to honor you in our decisions in order to continue to make North Augusta a great place to live. Amen. If able, please stand for Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance. Okay, we'll have our roll call starting from my left.
David McGee.
Pat Carpenter.
Britton Williams.
Jennifer McCauley.
David Buck.
Kevin Toole.
Okay, item 4, approval of the minutes. Are there any corrections, deletions, or additions to the regular city council meeting minutes of December the 16th, 2024? Hearing none, they stand approved as distributed. Thank you. Okay, under new business, item 5, I will be recusing myself, and our Mayor Pro Tem, Jen McCauley, will handle this. Number 5.
All right, so under new business, we have planning and development ordinance number 2025-01 to change the corporate limits of the city of North Augusta by accepting the petition requesting annexation by the landowners and annexing 0.70 acres of property located at Edgefield Road, St. James Street, tax parcel number 01205140004, owned by Adams Brothers Properties. First reading. Do I have a motion to approve this ordinance on first reading?
So moved.
Toole and Carpenter. Anything you want to add, Mr. McCauley?
I've asked Tommy Paradise, our subject matter expert, to be here tonight as we do not have a study session, so I'd like to come up and brief the council. If you don't mind.
Sounds good. Come on up, Tony.
Do I have a motion to approve this ordinance on first reading?
Yes, ma'am. This is council. This is 0.70 acres, is at the intersection of St. James and Edgefield Road. It's contiguous to the city and pursuant to city ordinance. They want city services, so they need to annex into the city. They are requesting that it be zoned R7, which is consistent with the long-term plan. And the overall plan there is to build some townhomes.
Okay. Are there any citizen comments?
City services, so they need to annex the city. They are requesting that it be zoned.
Any council discussion? All right, hearing none, I'll ask for a vote. All in favor? And that is unanimous. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Thank you. Okay, item 6. So basically, each year, a council agrees to accept this year will be the 2025 municipal jury list containing the names of all registered voters and the names of individuals with a South Carolina driver's license in the city of North Augusta's jurisdiction. Do I have a motion to approve this 2025 jury box?
So moved.
Okay, that's Mr. Buck is a first and second. Ms. Carpenter, thank you. Okay.
Motion to approve this 2025.
At this time, I will ask for a vote. All in favor? And that is unanimous. Very good. Thank you. Okay, item 7, engineering resolution number 2025-01, authorizing the city of North Augusta to enter into a contract with Brasfield and Gorey LLC to perform SRP Park WOW terrace repair work. Do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
So moved.
Okay, Ms. McCauley, second, Mr. Thank you. All right, anything you'd like to share about this, Mr. McCauley?
Yes, I've asked Tom Zeeser again to brief the council on this project. We're excited that it's kicking off.
Yes, I've asked Tom Zeeser again to brief the council on this project. We're excited that it's.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm excited. about this project. We've been reporting, I think, over a period of several years about ongoing issues with leakage into the stadium. This is post-warranty water infiltration that's coming into the retail spaces. And so last year you authorized a resolution for a weatherproofing consultant to come and do testing of the location and identify the source of some of those leaks. And they have done that, and they have prepared basically a scope of work for repair. And Brassfield and Gorey, who was the original contractor on the building, has priced the repair work. And so this is a resolution to authorize us to engage Brassfield and Gorey to complete that repair work. It's fairly extensive work. It's going to involve a good bit of demolition of if you're familiar, the WOW terrace. That's the outdoor patio outside the WOW Club. A good bit of concrete and brick demolition. It'll have to be completed and then waterproofed and reconstructed in its like new condition. Of course, all that work will be water tested before it is completed and accepted for payment.
Tom, what about the businesses? So I know Swank, Brinkley's, they've all been impacted. They're aware of all this as well. I mean, they'll be addressing all of it, so all those problems will be solved with this?
They're aware of all this.
That's our sincere hope.
Okay.
They'll be addressing all.
We have not yet communicated the exact timeline for this work with those individual owners, precisely because we just basically really I worked through that this morning, and so we will. The contractor is prepared to mobilize to the site tomorrow, but the construction work will not impact those retail businesses during construction at all.
Will it impact the baseball season?
No.
Don't we usually start, March, April?
No, they intend to be fully complete by March. And again, this work is just on the outdoor area of the WOW terrace, so it will not impede the stadium operations at all.
So if some of those businesses have damage because of the water, who will go in and fix that part inside?
We have allowances built into this contract for them to go in and remediate damages. Most of what we've identified is cosmetic damage.
Okay. Okay.
Tom, I know we've discussed it before, but, and excuse me if I'm misremembering this, I don't know that I have seen a report that actually laid out, other than reading through, this pretty extensive remediation report. What's missing? Why do we have the leaking pumps? What did the investigation find?
It identified a number of
Why do we have the leaking pumps? What did the investigation find?
deficiencies. It could not identify whether they were design or construction related deficiencies. Some of the construction details for that area were fairly vague, and the contractor was left to his own interpretation of some of those details during the construction phase, some of which resulted in the problems we're seeing. Some of them were certainly construction-related deficiencies, and that's why we're engaged with Brassfield and Gorey. Their contract, their pricing is only for their subcontractor costs. They are covering the contract administration and their on-site supervision themselves. Part of this, it's just because it's post-warranty. We really had no recourse under warranty.
Okay. All right. I'll save my comments until that answers my question.
Any other questions for Mr. Zeezer?
I don't think for Mr. Zeezer. I have some other discussion, but I don't think it's for.
All right, we'll get to that when we get to the discussion.
Thanks,
all right, thanks, Tom. All right, are there any citizen comments? Okay, we are here for council discussion.
I hear.
Oh. If you will, and I know you're not going to give me your address, but if you'll state your name for the record, please.
Sure. Ken Macon, evening to all.
Thank you, Ken.
I got 5 minutes, so I'll be expedient. This is a Facebook post from the City of North Augusta public information page. The utility billing department is currently in the process of switching over to a new billing software and a new online payment portal that will begin on January 1st, 2025.
Ken,
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. And you and I talked about this. Are you wanting to share about the utility? Or are you talking about the resolution we're approving?
Resolution, excuse me. Which resolution? Sorry.
With SRP Park is what we're talking about.
No, I'm not. No, I'm talking.
Yes, we need to wait. We're in the middle of. Well, I'm sorry. I meant citizen comment for this resolution.
Got you.
Sorry about that. I'll call you back up. I knew what you were here for. Okay. I should have made myself clear. Are there any citizen comments concerning resolution number 2025-01? Okay. At this point, council discussion. And we can ask questions.
JD, so I guess we're budgeting 280 at the Riverfront Core Fund. Is that going to deplete that fund?
It is not.
It's not. How much approximately is in that fund? I'm just curious.
Oh, I do not know off the top of my head.
We don't.
But that is not going to deplete that fund, though.
I guess just some of my issue is we're on the hook for paying for this, and I'm not disagreeing. I've walked through it. I've talked to the other tenants. I feel like we should be totally on the hook for paying for this. But I guess we don't have a choice. I mean, do we have any recourse? Like with the contractor?
I believe that with Brassfield and Gorey, what they're doing is the services they're providing is the recourse that we're getting from them, which is oversight of the contract. Now, when we went to get these repairs done, the warranty had passed, and so we had a project manager that was overseeing this project, and going back and forth on identifying the leaks and fixing the leaks has been a very long process.
Mm-hmm.
And we just got to the point now where it's something that needs to be addressed and needs to be fixed.
Yep, I agree. I'm not saying that it doesn't.
And some of these leaks weren't identified, unfortunately, early on because those were vacant. And there was dirt floors and leaks weren't identified because no one was in there, unfortunately.
I guess my concerns are a little bit aligning with David Buck's concerns, but I know this is something that we have to fix now and into the legalities of our contracts and stuff like that. But going forward, I guess my concern would be if there are problems again down the road, is there a way to renegotiate with where some of this falls on the developer versus everything falling onto the city for the repairs? I mean, I know this is probably dating back several years of documents and things like that way we need to filter through. But from my mindset, spending the $280,000 that roughly around there is a good bit. And obviously it was a flaw in the building system, but I'm just thinking for future expenditures, I just don't feel like it should fall on that. Or if there's a contingency, where these retailers are paying their lease agreement, if some of that percentage of that lease comes to the city, that goes into a contingency fund to repair the buildings. Because if there's no correlation to those two things, I just feel like we're kind of forking out money even anywhere. I'm going somewhere with that, but yeah.
Correct. I mean, this is our building. It is our responsibility to the lessees to make sure that it's isn't leaking.
I agree.
So that does fall on us. Unfortunately, we didn't identify it early enough to take care of it.
Well, I guess it's almost we don't have any choice.
Correct.
That we've got to do this to repair. I mean, we'll be back in another problem, even worse if we don't.
Correct.
Well, let me just say that I think that the situation that we were faced with is like, say, the warranty period was gone. We had someone review it, and we don't have anybody that can come forward and say it's a design problem or it's a construction problem. So that you don't know where to go with that. I think one of your questions is, going forward, if this doesn't work, what's the situation? Well, back at that point, we have architectural report, engineering report says, here's the problem, here's what needs to be done, and here's how it is to be fixed. And now we've got proposing a contract with the company to do what that says. Now, if this doesn't work, we're somewhat back in the same situation, but at that point, hopefully, if there was a problem, and hopefully there is no problem, hopefully this takes care of it, that we can have somebody to say, well, what was designed didn't solve the problem, or the contractor didn't do what was designed. And certainly we will have inspections during the time that the work's being done to see that it's being done in accordance with what our consultant said need to be done to correct the problem. And like, so we do get back all the way back to the beginning. We own the building, we have tenants in there, and we have a responsibility to the tenants. So.
Okay. Thank you for that information.
So I think both David and Jen kind of covered a fair amount of my thoughts. I think I've got one is I don't like having to vote on something where I feel like I'm kind of backed into a corner. I really don't like doing so when I feel like the general contractor that has backed us in the corner, even though they are making some concessions with fees and those sorts of things, or one being trusted to remediate an issue that I guess we don't have a report that says that, but I feel, at least in my gut, that was a design flaw. And I also, and this is no reflect, we've got to get it done, so I get this, and this isn't necessarily a criticism of staff, hate that we're doing this in a city council meeting in which we didn't have a study session to kind of vet through some of these things and ask some of the questions in a study session forum prior to coming in and having to vote on a resolution that doesn't even have a subsequent vote for us to continue to think through it. So, I've got some reservations. I don't know what the resolution to those reservations are. And I'm struggling. I had given some thought to, putting forth a motion to table this, to allow that time to think through it. But I also understand the position that Tom and his group is, as well as the tenants that are having to deal with the issues that are not going to get any better by having more water dumped on it. So all that to say, I just it's a really frustrating position to be in, and I guess I'm trying to put that out into the public sphere as I struggle through this myself. I still would like to have some more time to think about it, but I'm going to let some other folks have a chance to talk while I continue to kind of ponder that.
Well, could we table it then and have a study session? Tom, would that hurt things? Because I guess we don't have another study session, end of January?
Yeah, it wouldn't be until the end of January, and that would delay, kind of put the project a little bit further into.
So that would put it into baseball season.
Into the baseball season, so we're kind of in the window of
well, then I know it's a lot of money and it sounds a lot, but like I said, we sort of pushed in a corner right now. Yeah. To me, we got to move.
Well, I think the thing that I think we need to take away from this moving forward, and I would think as a city we do a very good job here. But I think going forward, anything that has to do with SRP Park or anything, any structure, we probably need to have a study session in more in depth, especially when it comes to Riverside Village, because it is what it is, and I think council feels like we're really kind of getting over the hump now, and things are going really good, and now we're having to address an issue from a lot of years ago, and it's just unfortunate. It's a wart that is popping up, which is unfortunate. So I'd say, JD, my recommendation from our council would be we need to, going forward, let it be a learning that we need a study session. We have more time, anything to do with that. Would you agree with that? That would be one thing that would help. But all at the same point is I've had the merchants reach out to me. I mean, with Kelly's, we are paying our directors and our staff to put us in the best situation to come to us. So I just don't know what another study session, we can talk about it, but the bottom line is, I just don't think we have a recourse. And not every time we vote on something, we need to feel good about it. And I don't think this is one of those examples, but I just don't know what more time is going to do. I don't know how I go back to a merchant to say, by the way, we're going to push it back just because, it's one of the, I will tell you, one thing I've learned in the last 4 years is there are certain situations that aren't good, that there aren't always a good answer for. Okay? And right now, this is one of those that the only answer we have is we got to get it fixed. So.
I would just say, I agree on the retailer standpoint. Obviously, as a retailer myself, it's very important to get it fixed as fast as possible from that standpoint.
And just put it on my real estate hat. They're under contract under a lease. They could get out of that lease if we don't hold up our end of the. So I just kind of want to put that out there too, that we can't have other empty businesses down there.
Yeah.
So I just want to throw in those two.
I totally understand I know that this has been a very time-consuming process to get here. Once the problem was discovered, unfortunately, it was discovered way late. But the importance of getting it done quickly is really what the issue is. I think I hate that we have the dollar mark on it. I'm glad to see that Brassfield and Gore is giving us something since they did the original. Hopefully, during demolition, we'll get a better idea of actually what happened, and be able to look forward on how things can be done differently. But I think it's just important. We've got to get this going. I hate to just spend this kind of money, but we really don't have much of an option, because you got the Masters coming up, you got baseball season coming up, and like David said, our vendors need to be able to have a facility that's good and sound.
Yeah, I agree it has to get done. I think my issue still falls that it falls all on the city, and for future references, I still think somehow the developer should be on the hook a little bit for this. That's my only resolution or hang up on it. But also understand the circumstances for right now. So I think this is something that we have to do. It's just my thought process is, yes, we own the building, but also the developer has a portion of that too. And there should be some sort of collaboration, I guess, between those two for future repairs and future issues.
Would it be on the developer? This has been going on, 6 years? So it looks like I say move forward.
Any other council discussion? Kevin, anything else? Any other discussion? All right, if there's no other council's, I'm going to ask for a vote. So all in favor? And that is unanimous. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, administrative reports, update on Hurricane Helene recovery efforts. Mr. McGauley.
All right, this is going to be a brief version of the debris update that Mr. Clifford usually gives. He'll have a more in-depth one coming up later, which I'll get into. But we are on day 102 of hurricane recovery. Next slide, Jamie. So a lot of these slides are going to be familiar, but we're just going to give you an update of where we are as of today. So not to be repetitive or redundant, we had 5 lines of effort. A few of them are completed, and some are ongoing. Public safety, maintaining law and order is always going to be ongoing. Communicate, that's always going to be ongoing. But moving into the main effort is debris removal, and that's what we've been talking about for quite some time. That is the city's main effort. Although we've been able to get some other things done, we can walk and chew gum at the same time, I like to say, but debris removal is the main effort. Next slide, Jamie. So we have a myriad of forces out there picking up debris. You've got state roads, which is under SCDOT. They have contractors out on our roads, subcontractors. You see them out there. They look a lot like our contractors. And the county contractors, they don't have a logo on the side that's consistent, so they're subs that are out there. Those are on the state roads. County roads have SDR. City roads also have SDR, as well as Tetra Tech following behind them, because that's a FEMA requirement to monitor what's being put in those trucks and put at the debris removal sites, because that all comes back to making sure that our federal dollars are spent on what they say they're supposed to be spent on, which is it's a good thing. We have multiple debris removal sites that have been authorized by the South Carolina Department of Environmental Services. Those are for temporary storage, not long-term. So if you see log piles out there, that's not going to be a long-term thing. City roads, we have, along with the SDR crews, we have our city crews out, which is, we're very lucky to have such a great group of folks. You'll hear from them in a little bit. We're working on our first pass, and we'll have SDR come behind us, or we'll be going behind them, making sure that things look the way they did pre-Hurricane Helene is our goal. Our parks and our city property parks, we have city crews and contracted crews. Our city crews are working as well as R&R tree services, which you guys know we have the greenway. We say it's complete. We'll call it debris removal is complete, because as you guys know, there's still a little bit of damage out there on the greenway, on the peripheral that is not debris related. So we're still working on getting those fixed. Residential debris self-removal options. You got the C&D landfill that's out behind Aiken Tech. That's where, if you're going to do a self-service debris removal, that's where you take it. City trees overhang on private property. We get a lot of calls to city clerk. That's going to be on R&R Tree Service. That's our contracting crew taking care of those dangerous trees. Next slide, Jamie. This is the city staff guidance that Jim or Ms. Clifford gave out. We're focusing on the city limits only. We went beyond that a little bit for Hurricane Helene response, but we're going to focus on city limits only, which makes sense. We've suspended yard debris routes for at least 90 days. Now, we're at that period right now, so we are going to be assessing how we're going to move on from that moving forward in the next week or two. So stay tuned for an update on that. We've dedicated 2 full-time city crews on the debris removal mission, which hopefully you see that has paid dividends, which is voluntary overtime, which is FEMA reimbursed for those crews. Now, we've also erred on the side of caution for our city vehicles, trying to be good stewards of our equipment, making sure we're not trying to max out those that machinery at the expense of, pick up extra things at the expense of our machinery. Roads are still a priority, even though we've completed majority of the greenway, or we've completed the greenway and majority of our parks. Still, roads are the priority. And the only time we're going to move off of that is for life, health, and safety, which has come up as of, you guys have seen today. We've had a few things come up where we've had to address. There were some hanging trees today on Pisgah, so it's an active situation. Hurricane happened. You've got leaning trees, and now wind kicks up. We're going to have more and more things kind of pop up, as it were. Goal still remains to be 100% FEMA reimbursed, or as close as possible. That's our goal. Next slide, Jamie. This is an important slide. So, citizen debris pile guidance. We see people who have piled their debris out in front of their house. Just want to make sure everyone knows that we are looking for vegetative debris only. And I've confirmed with Jason that they are also picking up Christmas trees. So if you put out your Christmas tree, we'll still get that. But one thing to note is if you have a fence or building materials, we will not pick that up. SDR will not pick that up. SCDOT will not pick that up. So that has to be removed either by a contractor or self-remove. That's something we do not, we have not picked up and we will not pick up, and it's also not a FEMA reimbursable item. All right, Jamie, next slide. And one other thing on that last slide, Jamie, is SCDOT or the city crews or SDR come through, just to note that once they come through and they pick up that pile, there's going to be maybe some debris left over. Make sure to reconsolidate that for the second pass to make sure it's easier for the crew to come back through. So if you see, they didn't do quite, it's not going to look perfect on the first pass, but if you reconsolidate, they'll be able to get the rest of that. And then again, our goal is to make it look like pre-hurricane as close as possible. We've got a detailed crew with our city staff that will make sure that happens. All right, next slide, Jamie. Sorry about that. And this is just the address and operating time for the self drop-off, which I mentioned earlier. Barton C&D landfill, if you'd like to take it yourself, it's free to Aiken County, City of North Augusta residents. Next slide, Jamie. You've seen this map a million times, so here's 1,000,001. This map shows the myriad of road networks we have, or ownerships, I should say, of roads in the city. As you can see, in blue is what we are responsible for as city crews. You have the red, which is state roads, SCDOT, and orange, which is kind of hard to see, being at orange and red, is the county. So blue roads and orange roads are going to be SDR, and the red roads are SCDOT. And they're making really good progress there. You can see it kind of boils down to about 75-25% breakdown between city and others. Next slide, Jamie. This was the plan for our contracted crew, SDR. They're going to go north to south, west of Martintown Road, and on the left is the plan, and on the right is, as of yesterday, they took a break for holidays, but this is the heat map. Obviously, the darker red is the more debris that they picked up, and all the way to the lighter green is the less debris that they picked up. So they picked up quite a bit of debris on city roads for us on that we call that the epicenter of where the hurricane hit the city. And other roads that are sprinkled down through Hammond Hills, as you see, there's no heat map there because that's SCDOT roads, which has had a lot of traction from them. So this just shows SDR's progress. Next slide, Jamie. All right, this is the first pass of city roads. So I'm happy to report that we are, it looks like 100%, but I'm not going to say that. It's a 99.999%. First pass status of city roads by city crews. And you can see some of them are in yellow, which means we're actively going back through those, and Jason will update you in a second on that. Next slide, Jamie. All right, I'm going to ask Jason Sykes to come up and can brief you on what city crews have been doing over the holidays. We had SDR take a little bit of a break because their contracted crews went back home for the holidays, but our folks here in town stayed here and worked, except for Christmas Day and New Year's Day. So, Jason.
Good evening, Council. So currently we're pretty much, as JD said, we're probably about 95% done with our first pass. We've got a couple roads that we have to mitigate that have some stuff that need to be cut before we can actually go in there. We're hoping to get with SDR to get that mitigated so we can go ahead and finish that up. So over the Christmas break, we're able to finish up River North, McKenzie Street, McKenzie End, Sykes Avenue, and Pretty Run Drive. We're kind of working right now. We're trying to finish up. Once those two roads are complete and cut, we'll finish those, and then a couple roads in our downtown corridor. From there, we're going to move to Oak Creek, and we're going to start back on the north side of I-20. What we'll do there is we're going to try to mitigate the stumps. So we'll start getting the stumps, getting those pulled, getting those off the route, and also, too, we'll begin our second pass. So that will be an opportunity. We'll make the clean sweep of that material. And all the residents have been, as you said, we're notifying them that they had to have it out by a certain time so we can get that collected for them. But as you can see here, this is one of the trucks. This is one of our boom trucks. So we found after doing this, we split the crews up in two sections. We have a heavier crew that has the heavier equipment that can handle like the logs, and the bulk material. So they will come through, and then we would have a second crew, and what we'll do with them is usually bring them in the afternoon or on the weekends, and they would come in with that and get the finer material, and they would have blowers and stuff, so that way we're not leaving a mess. So that's one of the things we found that worked better. Instead of having them kind of clump together and move along, we kind of split those up. So, next slide. So this is us here. This is us on right there at the ledges on Sykes Avenue, cleaning up. That's one of the heavier crews, using an excavator, collecting that material, moving them. And as we're doing this, we're greening up that map, so that way we know exactly when we went in there, when it was cleaned up, and then who had done it. Next slide. And this is another one. This is Pretty Run Drive, or Pretty One. This is us finishing up that section there, again with our heavy crew. So that's pretty much what we've done so far, and what we're doing in the storm cleanup. Oh, And that one this is what we're currently doing now. We're working on the downtown corridor. Some of these roads on West and Carolina still have some issues of traffic, more of a safety concern, trying to get those mitigated. That's what we'll be working on throughout this week. Get those done.
All right, Jason, a couple of things. First of all, on behalf of our council and citizens, thank you for what you and your team have done.
Yes, sir.
I mean, amazing. And by the way, Elizabeth did a great article on you in the Post and Courier too. Well done. And we appreciate you taking over that responsibility. So a couple questions, just clarification, because I'm glad you mentioned, I'm seeing a lot of things on social media about Christmas trees. So how is that, but you're not doing a regular route. So do we need to be telling people to put the Christmas trees out and they may be a month before they get them? Because that's what I don't understand. How are you picking up the debris, the balls in the second pass and pick up Christmas trees?
So we actually have two crews that we use when we use yard waste. And so we took one crew and kept them to pick up bulk waste. So we're still picking up material like carpet, furniture, stuff like that. We're just not picking up yard waste, which is.
So we will have one crew that will be doing a regular route of a neighborhood that will be picking up Christmas trees.
Correct. And we've been doing that. We're picking up furniture, mattresses, metal items.
Yep, I've seen that.
Yes, sir. So yeah, we'll pick those up with no problem.
So just clarify for me, when you start on the north side of I-20 and you're going to start putting up the root balls, how are, I guess we'll get equipment, you'll be doing that. Will SDR then be coming around while we're focusing your crews on the root balls? SDR will be focusing on the rest of the debris? Or is SDR going to be doing root balls? How's that?
So we'll be doing the root balls. SDR is, once they finish their first pass of the city, they're going to move to the remainder of the county. So the rest of the county will get their first pass. And then once the entire county has their first pass, they'll come back through for their second pass and do some more cleanup work. But we'll primarily be working the root balls and the larger items that are left behind.
Okay. So at this point, for the most part, the first pass has been done. And then what citizens who live on the city road, those 24 miles, what they're going to see at some point will be our crews strictly working on the root balls.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. Do we have any idea when that second pass from SDR is going to begin?
We do not. Okay. But we have weekly meetings with them. They just now moved out to the county.
Okay. Those are my two questions.
When is the FEMA deadline to get this up that will be reimbursed back?
Well, that date has not been set as of yet. Jason could correct me if I'm wrong. He's our FEMA expert.
So they have not set the date. So what it is, I'm trying to get an answer from them, but they're not going to. So they extended the timeline. Okay. So technically, if they did 90 days, they were supposed to do it, but then they extended it for 120 more days.
Oh, okay.
So if that is true, whenever they do that, the date will end up, if they wait to the last minute to do it, which the state's probably going to take and wait to the last minute, which is the smart thing to do, that would push us to May to get it done at 100% reimbursement. But nobody will give me an answer of when that is because they don't know. They don't want to say it. So that's what I'm thinking.
But January the 25th was kind of the goal within the 90 days we were working for. And this was actually going to be extended, which is great.
And what about all the debris, and then they grind it up? What happens to all that? I mean, it goes somewhere, or?
So it has to go to a certified disposal site. Could be to a farm that could utilize it, to a landfill. There's various ways that they can use that, but it has to be a certified location and approved through FEMA. So,
but that has not been approved. I mean, when you ride by the old strawberry patch and you just see all the.
That's up to SCDOT. Their contract is cradle to grave. So that's their responsibility of what they do.
Well, I was just interested in what
all the sites you see around town are called the temporary sites. All those sites you see around town are temporary. They're not the final destination of all the material.
Oh, okay.
That's just holding, and then they grind it and they haul it off to the landfills or somewhere else.
But just to clarify, they can put their trees out now. Okay.
And clarification, they can put out the fake trees and real trees. Just to pick up the fake ones. That'll trouble grab those.
It might be nice to go ahead and put something on social media, JD, and let's get that out. Because I'm seeing that being
Yeah,
asked.
that's a lot of posts.
We used to do the tree cycle every year, and that was done the second week of January. But unfortunately, we don't have the manpower to do that this year. So we're just picking them up with the boom truck.
So I think the clarification, because I know we're seeing it, is I think you did it, thank you, is the one crew we have is currently picking up, refrigerators, appliances, carpet, and they're going to pick up the Christmas tree. But they're not picking up just the normal debris that they used to pick up, right?
That's right.
Okay. That's good. Great job, Jason.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, brother.
All right, Jamie, next slide. This is R&R Tree Service. I asked Roy Kibler, who's heading up our R&R Tree Service contract, to come up and give you a briefing on what they did over the holidays. So, Roy.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. R&R Tree Service has completed the Greenway, and I know our residents are glad to have that back up and going so they can use it. They are currently working on the disc golf course and the 1.1 mile trail at Riverview Park. Their hopes is to finish that by this week, weather permitting. And then they're also going to be trying to hit some leaning trees that are our street trees that are leaning towards city property at the same time. And then next week they are looking to head into Living History Park. That's going to be their next big target to go in and clean up. And then we're going to go back, and just Brick Pond, Edenfield Park, and just go down the line, the rest of the parks that are left to cut. My tree crew is currently at the boat landing. We're taking care of the trees down there, so we're trying to help infiltrate some of the parks and smaller areas that we can handle in-house to try and help speed up the cleanup process. But R&R's, so far they're doing a phenomenal job on the cleanup process. So.
Yeah, R&R. They're rock stars, and then our city crews with Jason, what your team are doing, it's pretty impressive. It's pretty impressive.
And Leroy Hammond Park is complete. They got that just before Christmas. We had some pretty dangerous leaning trees in there, pines that they had taken down, so that park is right. So.
And where they're also attacking our at-risk trees or our high-risk trees. R&R's out doing those.
Yeah, the leaning trees, they'll be hitting those this week as well.
That's the list that city clerk has that everyone calls in and gets put on a list. That's if you're listening out there, that's the list we're talking about. So they're also attacking those as well.
Between this week and next week, we're going to try and get as many of those as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Roy.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Roy. Next slide is just an update on parks and recreation facilities. I got Rick Meyer here to give you a quick update on what's open and what's closed.
Good.
Thanks to R&R again for the Greenway. And I would remind our folks, though, that, and it's been mentioned earlier, and the Greenway's clearing this open, but we know there's still a lot of stuff on the sides, and that's going to take a while, but we're going to chip away at it as the year goes along. As you can see that we have over 14 parks now open and about 10, not necessarily all parks, but sections of parks that are still closed. And, our goal is to make sure that all of these areas are extremely safe before we open up. For instance, I would use Leroy Hammond Park, where R&R Tree Service has completed their work, but there's a lot of work left for us to do. There were bridges destroyed in there. Some of the playground equipment is damaged, so that one still has a little ways to go before we open it. Creighton Park, they've completed their work in there, but that Creighton Park playground's not going to reopen. We're going to pull that baby up, and when it opens, it'll be a brand new playground. So waiting there for that. I will say the 1.2 mile trail around Riverview Park, half of it is currently open. The half that backs up to Georgetown Villas and the villages at Riverview. And hopefully the other half that backs up to the Hammond Hills will be open by the end of this week. And our goal with all our playgrounds, between the tree damage, the mulch being washed around. We plan to have everything safe and open for the spring of '25. So chipping away at it one day at a time. Any questions?
Well, on, like Beck Park, open space and docks, okay,
Yes.
but the Beck facility part, do we have that blocked off, do not use or anything?
We do. We've got some structural damage there,
Yeah.
and we're going to have to study that to see what the best option is going to be going forward with that one.
Yeah, it should be blocked off. Sometimes what we have gets taken down or gets removed. We have to put it back up.
It should be a tape. It was taped at one time.
But it's not, I met Mike Grable over there.
Yeah, it's not there
Friday,
at the
Saturday.
moment. So we got to
retape it.
Yeah.
We're revisiting those parks as well.
Probably
They're
gonna have to
closed.
fix
They get pulled down, and we need to make sure we put those back up.
But the dock is safe.
Dock is fine.
Thanks, Rick.
And Rick,
Yes.
you might have already done this, so I didn't check Parks and Rec Facebook page. So if you have, we ought to put this on your.
It is.
It's already on there.
Yes.
See, I didn't check it, so I knew I would show. Knew you were step ahead of me, buddy. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. All right, thanks, Rick. All right, we're almost through the not so brief debris meeting. Sorry about this. So we're back onto tree liability act of God. Just a reminder of how we're approaching each situation. The big takeaway from this slide is report leaning trees to city clerk 803-441-4202. Again, that might be a number to remember because of the winds that are happening today and upcoming storms. We know that there's future issues that may come along from residual effects from the hurricane. Next slide, Jamie. Key dates for debris removal. These are ones that have already passed, but just a reminder, SCDOT has let us know that December 16th was the final day for state roads to make sure your debris was out to the curb. For Aiken County, City of Aiken, including, City of North Augusta, all three of us got together and we agreed that the county date was close of business yesterday. So have everything out to the curb by yesterday evening. That means that that'll be taken for the first pass. We ask that the bottom line for this slide is that you have contractors come out to your property after, from this day forward. Please have them remove the debris and take it to the landfill themselves. That's what we ask. Purpose of this slide. Next slide, Jamie. Operation in-state has not changed. Enable power restoration, that's accomplished. We've identified hazards. We're working to get back to pre-hurricane status. We're making great progress, in my opinion. Recreation facilities and parks are on their way to being opened. We do still have the highest level of local government insurance claims in South Carolina due to the hurricane. The reason for that is that we have to claim it even if it's going to be denied, and if we know it's going to be denied, because then we have to submit that denial to FEMA for reimbursement. And then another green thing here at the end is the Greenway is passable from end to end. We can celebrate that like we did for the holidays. Next slide, Jamie. Now, for a more comprehensive update, if that's possible, Jim Clifford's going to do it on Thursday, January 16th. Mark your calendar here, same place at 6 p.m. here in the Municipal Center on the third floor, Council Chambers. And we'll also have Q&A with Mayor Williams, so I want to make sure that we have that on the calendar for citizens who are interested. It'll also be live streamed if you can't make it down here in person.
Let me just say that our objective with community engagement meetings are to have it out in the community. We've done that at different churches and different locations, and we do listen. And the comment when we had our last community engagement was sitting around the debris. A number of citizens made the comment, it'd be great if that could be live streamed. So that's why we're going to, I think, as long as we continue to do the debris piece, we will live stream that, because we know realistically not every citizen can do that. But when we're done with the debris part, when we go back to community engagements, we are going to be in the community. But I think there is some merit to allow citizens to be able to be at home and live stream it. So anyway, hopefully people take advantage of that.
Great. And just last slide is just questions. If you guys have questions for any of us here tonight. I know it gets a little repetitive, but just know that you guys got great staff in the city working every day to get this done and return us to pre-hurricane status.
Very good. All right. Thank you, JD. Great job, guys, all of y'all. Okay. At this point, we are at citizen comments. So citizens may speak to mayor and council regarding any matters not listed on the agenda. Come on down, Mr. Ken Bacon.
We'll try this again.
It's all yours now.
Thank you very much. This is mostly about utilities and water. We've spoken previously, but had a chance now to speak to the entire council and North Augusta at large. As previously stated, there's a Facebook post that was posted on New Year's Eve that I will recite or reread here. The utility billing department is currently in the process of switching over to a new billing software and a new online payment portal that will begin on New Year's of 2025. However, the new payment portal will still continue to be accessed on the city's website, just like before. In addition, balances may appear to be incorrect as we begin the migration. Those will be corrected before the process is complete. While we don't anticipate any downtime during the transition, there may be times where the new portal is delayed or slow. We appreciate your patience with us during this transitional period. I'm choosing to use this as a point of reference, a framework, for two reasons. The first, the topic of benevolence is something that I'm going to be speaking about at length here. I understand, and it's fitting that there was just a discussion here about Hurricane Helene, because during the hurricane, I understand that some of the turnoffs for water were temporarily halted. I do think that is something that that the city and this council should consider as you all are implementing this new system with the water. I had a chance to comment on that specific post. That this is a sentiment that I shared, and it seems like there was some interest in that from residents. If you guys are welcome, obviously to go back and look at that post again. It was New Year's Eve. That post, or my comment to that post, actually came from an experience that I had actually that my family had. My dad and I are both residents of North Augusta, but had an unfortunate situation where my dad's water was cut off, and we rectified it pretty quickly. And generally, when that happens, folks kind of get back around around 5 or so. In this particular incident, they didn't get back around the house till 10 p.m., which is extremely problematic. My dad has some health issues that make it really difficult. Whereas you're in a situation where there's no water. I'm saying this because I think this is a great opportunity. Again, from the framework of benevolence, from the framework of North Augusta, redoing some things in terms of water and the system, to implement some things in terms of customer service, implement some things in terms of just being more patient with the consumer. I know that when there are turnoffs, the slip of water, excuse me, the paper slip will be left at the water gauge. A simple knock on the door, I know in my case, because we always pay online, would have saved the city some money, certainly would have saved us some money. I don't know if that's something that may need to go to, maybe there needs to be like a citizens advisory or maybe just a series of dialogues as it relates to this system and just the process in general. But I just think it's a great opportunity to, really, I think, build a partnership between the city and the residents. And I think just to be more conscientious and benevolent when it comes to turnoffs and different things of that nature. That's the long and short of it. We spoke previously.
Yeah, just for transparency, Ken and I spoke, and one of the issues I think is a valid point, which I didn't have an answer for you, and I still don't have an answer for you, and that's why, because of the holidays, I have not been able to get in talk to our finance person yet. But hopefully, our understanding with this new system is going to make things a lot easier. Especially, what happens is you go in today and you pay that late bill, and you pay not to have the water cut off. Well, our guys are already out there, and we don't have a way of picking up the phone. And I believe this system is going to supposedly help with some of that better communication. So I'm still going to get back to you about what we talked about. Okay, just let you know. So, but I think you bring up a good point.
Yeah, I would say very valid points and something that we need to look into, especially with a new system coming online. It's a great opportunity time frame to be sure that there are systems and processes in place that will be helpful to the citizens.
Yeah, so very good.
I agree too, Jim.
Yeah, appreciate it. So Ken, thank you, sir.
No, for sure. I just want to say this too. Like I mentioned the customer service piece. I know when folks come up, and obviously folks are mad in those instances, but I do think there are times, and again, this is something that I've seen just in social media dialogue and just things that I've heard, where people will call up to the city and not get a response. So, and when some people, when they do get a response, it's not as friendly. So just things to be cognizant about. We're all trying to work together and deal with various challenges. So appreciate it.
Thank you, Ken. Appreciate it, sir. All right, very good. Any other citizens have anything to speak to us concerning matters not on the agenda? Yes, ma'am. Come on down. And if you would speak in the microphone and state your name and address for the record, please.
Absolutely. And I hope that I've come to the appropriate place. I just learned about this today. And again, my name is Latoya Armstead. I'm a new resident to North Augusta. I am from actually Virginia. And I have a concern because I'm a renter here. And I received notice on allegedly the first notice on December 12th said my rental rate was going to be the same. On the 13th, it said that my rental rate was going to go up $350. So my term ends on the 31st, so I would have this effect on February 1, right after Christmas, right after Helene, right after all these things. So I have been doing some research to determine if this is legal, if I have any type of supporting document where I can say, hey, this isn't legitimate. And I haven't been quite as successful in looking for those things. I think I found some South Carolina Renters Control Act. I wanted to know if that's something that I probably could use to make my argument. I did also reach out to my landlord because in my term, it didn't stipulate whether or not what any type of increase was. It just says, I don't even think it said anything about it. I have it particularly on my phone. I did ask, like, hey, I understand things go up. I understand the cost of living. But what I have not been accustomed to, even when I did own my own property, is a substantial increase as such. Typically, you'll see renters, maybe $100 or so go up every year. But for mine to go up like $350, I really think that that's absurd. I'm not even sure if it's honestly might be just the area. Because I just live right around the corner at the condos here by SRP Park. A part of that was, hey, I'm raising the rents because, taxes X, Y, and Z. Well, I did research that, and the taxes have been the same on that property for the past 3 years. So I'm hoping that there's no other, I'm just hoping there's no discrimination or anything like that, because I have paid the rent successfully. I am a minority in the area, but I'm seeking some assistance for you guys to either point me in the right direction, or something that I can kind of maybe have some stand on. If there is not anything here in the area that kind of protects renters, I would be an advocate for that.
Ms. Armstead, I appreciate you coming forward. I don't have an answer for you. I would tell you, without knowing anything more, I think it's an issue between the renter and the owner. I mean, as far as, I don't know. We will look in to see, is there some information we can get to you?
Okay.
So if you would, when we finish tonight, if you don't mind, I will ask you to get your number to Miss Jamie over here. And we'll look in, if I can get you some information, we will.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Good to have you in town with us now.
No, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else? Got a full meeting tonight. All right. All right. So we're now at final thing. I got one thing I'm going to say. Anybody on your end? Ms. Pat, you got anything? You got anything? Okay. So just, I don't know if you noticed, but we now have the rapid flashing light on the crosswalk of West Pine Grove and West Avenue. I tested it Sunday. I got out and pushed it, and I had Jen Lynn in the car at the park, and that thing's bright, but the car stopped. So I think that's going to be huge.
I tested it Sunday too. That's
You did?
funny. Yeah, I was out running.
So at night, I think at night it may cause a wreck because I think the light's pretty
It was
bright.
pretty bright, yeah.
So anyway, I think that's going to be great for West Avenue. I'm excited because we want traffic in our downtown for our merchants, but we want slow traffic, and we are committed to slowing traffic. It is going to happen. So anyway, that's good to know as well. So thanks for your help with that, JD and Tom and your staff on that.
Tom and his staff did an excellent job
Yeah.
on that project. Yes.
All right. With that being said, thank you for being here. We stand adjourned.